Most shops will tell you rough idle or pinging means a $1,200 converter job. They're wrong. It's actually one of 3 ghost signs from a $300 EGR valve you're ignoring right now. Here's the move. I'll show you the finger test. A 5-minute driveway diagnostic that proves it's the EGR before you spend a dime. This is what happens inside. Your engine's black lung. Thick, oily soot chokes your intake manifold until your engine struggles for air, suffocating on its own exhaust. Catch it in the next 1,000 miles and it's a one-day fix. Miss it and you're replacing the converter, turbo, and anything else downstream. In the next few minutes, what to listen for, how to run the diagnostic yourself, and why shops let you drive past the point of no return. Sign 1. Rough idle installing. Most people feel this shake and immediately drop $100 on new spark plugs. Stop. If the shake only happens at red lights but disappears when you're cruising, it's not your ignition, it's the EGR. Be honest. Comment guilty if you've already swapped your plugs trying to fix a shake like this. Engine vibrates at red lights or idles unevenly. That's your first warning. The EGR valve stuck open means exhaust gases are flooding the intake. It starves the engine of fresh air needed for smooth combustion. Your MAF sensor reads incorrect airflow, and the ECU can't compensate. Result: cylinder misfires, rough shake, occasional stalls. This happens most when the engine is cold or at low RPM. Don't ignore this. Sign 2. Engine knock or pinging. Metallic rattling sound during hard acceleration. That's pre-detonation. It sounds exactly like marbles in a tin can. If you hear that when you're hitting the gas on an on-ramp, your pistons are taking serious abuse. The EGR valve stuck closed means no exhaust recirculation is happening. Combustion chamber temps spike above 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, the threshold where NOx forms. Fuel ignites too early, creating mini explosions before the piston expects them. This is warping your piston rings and scoring your cylinder walls with raw carbon in real time. You'll hear it most on hills or when towing. It's a warning. The longer you drive with this, the more internal damage stacks up. Sign 3. Power loss and failed emissions. Car struggles to accelerate, feels sluggish uphill. A stuck-open EGR means exhaust is taking up space meant for fresh air. Engine can't build enough cylinder pressure for power. You'll fail your emissions test because NOx levels are wrong. Either too high if the valve is closed, or combustion is incomplete if it's stuck open. Fuel economy tanks because the engine works harder to do less. You're paying more for less power. Symptoms creep in gradually. You adapt to the rough idle. Modern cars mask problems with electronic compensations. The check engine light gets ignored for weeks or months. Carbon buildup happens invisibly inside the valve. By the time you notice power loss, the valve is severely clogged. That's the trap. The engine compensates until it can't anymore. Then everything falls apart at once. The EGR system operates at extreme temperatures. Exhaust gases exceed 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Never attempt to inspect or clean the valve while the engine is hot or running. Always allow the engine to cool completely before any hands-on work. If you're uncomfortable working around high-temperature components, skip the hands-on test and go straight to the OBD-II scanner. The 5-minute test. Plug in an OBD-II scanner. Borrow one from AutoZone, they do it for free. Look for any P0400 series code. That's the universal EGR failure flag. This code confirms the EGR system is failing. Don't ignore a code just because the car still runs. A code means the computer detected a problem. Trust it. Write the code down. That's your baseline. The finger test. Engine off and cool only. Once the engine is cooled, locate the EGR valve under the intake manifold. With the engine completely off, try to manually move the valve plunger by hand. If it won't budge or feels stuck in one position, the valve is carbon locked. This is your confirmation. A stuck valve needs replacement. Cleaning won't free it up once carbon hardens. What carbon buildup actually does. The EGR valve recirculates hot exhaust back into the intake. Over time, carbon deposits stick to the valve seat. The valve gets stuck in one position, either open or closed. Stuck open means too much exhaust, not enough air. Stuck closed means no cooling effect. Combustion temps spike dangerously. Once carbon hardens, cleaning won't fix it. You need replacement. This isn't a guess, this is how the system fails. The 2 failure paths. Path 1. Valve clogs slowly. Symptoms get worse over months. Path 2. Valve solenoid fails electrically, stuck immediately. Either way, the engine compensates until it can't anymore. That's when you get the stall, the knock, or the power loss. Waiting past this point risks damage to the catalytic converter and turbo. A $400 EGR replacement beats a $2,000 catalytic converter replacement every single time. Why shops push full replacement? Cleaning kits exist, but only work on mild carbon. Once the valve is stuck, cleaning is a gamble. Shops recommend replacement because it's reliable and warrantied. Cost: $200 to $800 for parts and labor on most vehicles. Ignoring the problem costs far more when secondary damage spreads. The math is simple. The prevention move: use quality fuel. Cheap gas has more contaminants. Change your oil on schedule. Dirty oil accelerates carbon buildup. Clean or inspect the EGR every 30,000 to 50,000 miles before carbon hardens. Drive highway miles regularly. Short trips prevent the EGR from cycling properly. How long is your daily commute? If you're under 5 miles each way, your EGR is in the danger zone. Drop your commute distance in the comments. I'll tell you if you're at risk. Don't ignore the check engine light for more than a week. Catch it early, and you're replacing one valve, not the whole exhaust system. If you hear pinging or feel rough idle, grab a scanner today. 25 to 50 bucks saves you thousands in ignored damage. A P0400 code means you have maybe 1,000 to 2,000 miles before symptoms get worse. Code present plus any symptom equals schedule the repair this week. Don't wait for the problem to spread downstream. Most shops can turn it around in one day. Check the description for a full EGR diagnostic guide. Watch the video on how to read your own codes. You don't need a mechanic for that. If your scanner showed a P0420 instead of a P0400, your catalytic converter is already damaged. Watch the next video to see if you can still save it. Subscribe if you're tired of shops hiding problems until they become emergencies.